Hi, everybody. I am Andra Annette, and this is this week's session of Healing from the Inside Out. It's very early here, so please excuse our appearance. We just wanted to come in. We have someone that we think that you are going to love. So I'm here with my co-host, C.J. Boyd, and I have Shani Azulay here with me today, who is in Israel. So a lot of people do know that there is a war going on in the world, and this young lady is actually trying to spread more heat, more hope, more peace, and more joy, and really trying to connect people with their spirituality. So I think it's amazing what she's doing because any single one of us can complain about anything every single day. And we don't really know, even though she's not directly in the war zone, she is there. So, and she has friends that are being affected. So we don't realize how lucky we are from day to day. And I think just speaking with her for a minute, you should really try to feel some of her gratitude because I think it's something none of us really have enough of. So please help me welcome Shani Azulay. Hi.
Hello, it's so nice to be here.
You're such a sweetheart. So I asked CJ to sit in because she doesn't sit in on all of the sessions. CJ's a busy business owner as well. So um I just thought after talking to you that it was so fascinating. So CJ, before you came on, Shani and I were backstage talking and we were discussing the Course in Miracles because after reading her website, I was like, wow. And you said the same thing. So you were discussing on your website how people really do have a purpose and that a lot of times we're a lot similar to the Course in Miracles. The Course in Miracles, just to do a catch up for any of the viewers, is a book about the real meaning of the Bible and that God is here really to serve with us, that we're not separate from God, that we live in God, that we are one and of the same, and that we have the same ability. He's granted all of us the ability to have an amazing life. That somewhere along the line we chose ego, and now we're spending our days trying to get out of ego and back into spirituality so we can live a life we love. So a lot of what you said on the website is really aligned to that. So I want you to share a little bit about your life lessons and how that relates to becoming more spiritual, if you will.
Sure. So I believe that we have a lot of perspective about the spiritual world because if I will explain the meaning of God or life lesson, and people that learn with me 8 years, he can explain it in another way. So our translation to the word, this is the main changing. And I believe that the words help us to change the energy around us with our 8 energetic bodies. I talked about it a lot in my website. And my perspective that if you see in the website that everyone can see a lot of article there written by me when I was child, when I was 10 or 11 years old.
Wow.
And and the main idea of this website is my sharing of what I remember before I was born, because most of us didn't remember it and believe of the rules of this reality. And I believe that our purpose in this life is not a specific job or project that we need to realize. We have a knowledge that our soul prepared us to make true it here in this world, many life parts. And our life lesson is a program that match in our size, and it help us to be ready to contain this knowledge. Because if I try to understand something and translate it to the world, I have assumption that I need to change the outer reality. But if I change my inner reality, all my life lesson help me to organize my belief system according to my inner knowledge. So this is the main idea of my perspective to this spiritual journey. If people want to pass their life lesson, they need to find the gap between what they want and what they need, and to ask themselves how the reality behaves to me like I behave to myself. And this is the main idea of my job and of my website.
CJ?
It's like speaking to my soul, because
I
this is
know.
exactly how I feel. And when I read your website, I was like, oh my gosh, you're speaking my language. So I guess my question would be, how do people figure that out? I mean, how do we help people figure that out? That, what we need is already inside of us. We just need to, like you said, fill in the gap between what's on the inside to get our outside reality. So what would you say would be the main thing to try and help people to come to terms with that and realize just how powerful we are inside?
I think that the start point is the hierarchical problem, because many people think that their souls know more than him. And the collaboration between you and your soul help you to find out your inner sources and to respect the sources of your soul. And I think this is the start of point, because if we are looking for a outer teacher, or we make our soul, this is my teacher because my soul know more than me, this is the main problem, because I give the responsibility of my development to other details in this program.
Yeah.
So that makes a lot of sense. So because our soul is very much aligned with who we are. So it's not separate. It's just that we have to become a match for it, because somewhere along the line, what I think she's saying, and I could be wrong, what I think she's saying is like, so, like sort of like the ego and the reality, like we live in ego. Somewhere along the line, we gave our soul a higher meaning. Like, so when God looks at us, he looks at us as we're perfect people. And he doesn't look at us as better or worse than him. He created us in his image. So to look at us as bad would be saying that he did something wrong and he's not capable. So when we look to our soul, we're giving it a higher reality and a higher, I guess, kinship. I don't know if kinship's the right word, because we're all part of the same kinship, right? So but we're giving it a higher level on a plane of this world than ourselves, and it's not higher, it's supposed to be in sync. So we have to come back to where we feel that this isn't higher than this is part of me. So some people are more spiritually fit than others. Some people think that like some people won't admit to being spiritually broke, that they've gotten away from God and spiritual laws, or the we call them the laws of the universe, but that's all part of God. So somewhere along the line, we've gotten very away from that, very away from ourselves and belief in ourselves. So there are a lot of people out there, and we refer to it as limiting beliefs, but they don't believe they have power. They don't believe that changing their thoughts and saying I'm of God, and like people that are broke and aren't abundant, well, they're broke because they believe that they have to work hard and keep doing, but our purse comes from God and it's always full, right? So it will always be replenished. So but when we look for it outside of ourselves in other places, that's where we get lost. That's where we get in our book. We're so focused on the not having and the paying the bills, and we continue to think about how we have to pay this bill and how we have to work hard and how we have to do that, instead of just relying on that match and saying that we are full and I am already abundant in all the ways I need to be. Does that make sense to both of you, or?
Sure, and I can give you a funny example that I used to explain it. And spiritual moment. A spiritual serious moment is it's a connection to a change of investigation in this world. The world has a soul. exactly like us. And the soul's world, after it's not she in this accident of earth. After this pass his life lesson, like what I have and what I need is a kind of life lesson of the earth's souls. The investigation will change. What I have and what I need is a timeline situation. I can catch myself between what I have and what I need, and again what I have. Yesterday I talked with the client. They said me, I want to not feel like I want it. I will have all what the earth can advise to me. And I replied him. Do you want to take fear? Do you want to take a sad? It's a part of the world. Do you want it? So this separate between what we want and what we don't want, the limit don't look clear in these last years since the COVID pandemic. And the change, the next life lesson of the world souls is a creation from infinity. How can we create a new world and don't be dependent of materials, of belief system? We can use it to create from our inner reality. And this is the main idea of this words chain. And I want to explain about it a funny story. Before, according to the COVID pandemic, I think, before 2 years, I drive to my college. And when I drive, I saw in the left side a poor person about the COVID. And he closed to my window of my car and said if I can give him money. And I saw that he will not going back to the safe place. He is in the middle of the road, and I will drive few seconds now, and I don't want to hit him. And I said I did U-turn and I back and I said him, I will give you money, but what do you have to give me? And he out from his bucket a list of sentences, one smarter than the other. And I take a photo of this and upload to the WhatsApp group of my city. And all the people in the city came to this road to take a smart sentence from this person. And and he said, I lost my job from the COVID and I have children and this is a problem. And after 5 years, a CEO of a company in my city take him to the job because of their sentences. And today he is a copywriter.
Wow.
That's a great story. But a lot of times people are like, we're in America and the cup is more half empty than half full here. A lot of people come from a place of what is it in it for me? Like you asked that gentleman, yeah, sure, I'll give you the money, but what can you give me? Because here, if people don't see a direct benefit of what they're giving, they're often not going to do anything for you at all, because that's where the world has really gotten to. People are really out for themselves a lot. So there's great people everywhere in every parts of the world, but there is still a lot of people that don't have value for their own life, never mind someone else's. I mean, if you turn on any TV today and you see how quick someone will take a life, they're not going to be so quick to take this man's sentence and say, wow, I could use it, right? So I mean, it's a different generation, but I do like what you said about the life lessons, how they're going to be different because as we grow, right? So I was reading on your website that we have a responsibility to grow. We don't, that to look into yourself, into development is an ongoing process. And I like the way that you worded it on the website because it was very eloquent that we don't do this because we want something. We do this because it's part of life. Development and growth is part of life. And when you get to a place where you feel like you can't grow anymore, there's a problem, because you're always changing. So once, like right now, I don't think that, and I'm being honest, and I'm just going to call myself out here. I don't think I'm a perfect match. Like, I'm totally aligned, right? And some things that happened in my life, and that match that might have been here changed a little. So I do that inner work on a regular basis to get me more to that plane where I know that everything I have comes from God. I already know that, but knowing it and living it and practicing it is a different story. It's very easy to give lip service and words, but I know as a person that I fall back into that worrying about this and worrying about that, and not just saying, okay, take the wheel, God, right? So, but I know that as I've changed, that my desires to and what I feel I'm here to do have also changed, right? So, and that's part of that trust. When I first came online and I started talking about weight loss and gut health and all this stuff, I felt like God was telling me, nope, that's not what you're here for. Cut it out. And the more that I showed up, the more he pulled me a different way. And I kept having like these people fall in front of me on the train. And I was like, really? I was on my way to work. And I'd have people falling, who was seizing over here, who had a heart attack over here. And I was like, what are you doing? I'm trying, I want to stop doing this and do this, right? But I don't think that he was telling me not to change. I think he was telling me not to change who I was at my core. That so much of who I was wrapped in that nurse. And I didn't need to be somebody else online to help. And I when that finally clicked for me, because online I help people more with nutrition. So nutrition is nursing. They're not separate. So, but I speak better from that nurse, if that makes sense, CJ. That's where I feel more heart centered, more compassionate, and more empathetic. So sometimes when I show up as that nutritionist, I'm more nurse ratchet. So I'm like, "No, you should be doing this," and I don't think that's really gonna help anybody. So when I stay in that person who I feel most aligns with, like you were talking about, when I don't feel like I need something else, when I know that I have what I need, then I feel like I show up better. I don't feel any pull. So I think that we always have a certain amount of resistance. And that when we move with that resistance, things get harder in our life. That's when all those stories about, oh, you won't believe what happened to me, take place, right? But when we just go with the natural order of things and the natural flow of our life, from coming from a heart center, that I think things in our life tend to be much better. Thoughts? EJ could not be more coffee.
I like the way you the way you explain things connect to your life purpose. So my spiritual intelligence separate by two parts. I want to focus on your what you said and your human being, and I also see your souls. So I want to combine it with two examples. I like to say a main idea of spiritual reality and funny examples. This is the way I'm working. And last year I did the wow, great experience that can say the main idea that you said and the structure of the life lessons. I believe that we have four levels of life lesson. In the start, we can see something that don't touch us. We can see creative people in the street. We can see specific notes, number of car, something that we see in the days routine. And after that, if we don't understand how the reality behaves to us like we behave to ourselves, we will come to the next level of people that close to us. We can listen to the story, close person, or something like that, and we still didn't connect what happened to us to this story. The next level is a behavioral something that happened to us, a specific relationship, people in the job, in the business, and after that it will come to the body. And this is the final point of life lesson that it will stay there after we will publish it. We will solve it and publish it and came it out and solve it and behave in another way. And the funny stories is last year I did an experience. I have before 2 days, I think I uploaded the article to my website about the spiritual source of vitamins, how people that they have vitamins and minerals problem can find the way to understand the spiritual part of it. And last year it was started, and I was in video meeting like this with two persons, one of them from India and one of them from Philippines. They didn't know each other, and both of them have another lack of vitamins. One of them he has a sugar problem, and one of them he has cholesterol problem. And I say, let's try to give each other the energy of lake. You have cholesterol, but you need to balance your sugar. You have sugar problem, but you need to balance your cholesterol. And in electromagnetic field and in magnetic medicine, according to this Zoom meeting, we try to give each other and do this infinity structure and signature, the ways of vitamins. And before, as a result of this experience, this is the way I work until today.
I think this is like such a beautiful concept, and I think that it really does tie us into each other. Do you know what I mean, CJ? Because how you can use your energy to help instead of harm. And I think that if we started coming from that place, Shani, you were talking about like post-COVID, we have to use our spirituality and come from a creative place to rebuild the world. And I don't think there's ever been a time in history, based on everything that's going on around us, that we really need to rebuild, restructure, and remove a lot of things that are really going on in our worlds. CJ, what are your thoughts on all of this?
I think, everybody is so laser focused on the differences, the differences that we have, like, different ethnic backgrounds, different skin colors, all the things. And so many people are focused on, being better than a certain color, certain religion, certain background, etc. And when I think we're all one. And I oftentimes, when I was growing up, I'm like, people would make me feel like I was less than, and I would be like, no, but we bleed the same colored blood. We're all one. We're all the same. And so I think the idea of us all coming together and coming from our heartfelt space, where when I walk by somebody, I want to say, what can I do to help you? Not, I want to help you, but what's in it for me? And I think that that's where we need to get back to, where, small town communities, a farmer needs to, bale his hay, but he's in the hospital. The whole entire community would come together and help bale that hay for him. They didn't want anything back in return. They just want to do it from the kindness of their hearts to help. And that's what I think the world needs more of. So it's remembering that we're one, not trying to laser focus and pinpoint the differences that we are.
See, I grew up in that world, and being without it is devastating for me. I was actually on a call with an energy woman, right? And she wanted to be on my show, and the next thing you know, I was getting her services, and I didn't know how that happens. She was really good at what she did. But I said, okay, we'll go with this, right? And she was telling me that I was doing so much in the community because I felt obligated because the community had given so much to me. And that's kind of when I really had to stop seeing her, because she told me I could do good, but only so much. That, like, I had to stop. I had to put myself first. And I said, this has never been about, a guilt where I do it out of, like they have something called Jewish guilt or Italian guilt. The mother guilts you into doing stuff. It's never been about that for me, because of the way that I grew up and the love and support that I saw. It made me want to pay it forward, because I grew up in a single parents home. My mother raised four girls, which was no easy task. Each one of us was worse than the last. So we weren't the best kids, but she did that with the help of the community. People watched each other's children and watched out for them. Everybody, we communed together and ate. We had block parties. We laughed together. There was no black and white, and there was nothing to put anybody down for. The Bronx was very poor at that time to begin with, right? It didn't matter where you lived, but it was all about everybody trying to help each other to pull you up instead of keep you stuck. And it was a beautiful, beautiful place to live. And I hadn't seen it like that until COVID. COVID, I mean, I'm still in the Bronx, born and raised. COVID was like everybody in the Bronx came together. I mean, people were worried about losing their lives. They were staying home. People opened their stores. They couldn't do business, to come in and cook for the nurses in the hospitals and the people that showed up to care for those sick people. People came out for us every day to make sure that we ate and we were taken care of in a way I hadn't seen the Bronx come together in a long time. And I was like, yeah, that's my Bronx. And it was such a nice feeling. So you don't do because you feel obligated. And it's just who you are. That helped develop part of my personality and who I am, and that we do that. It's everybody's job, just like it's everybody's job to raise that community child. So that was a perfect example of it. It was around me all the time. If I mean, I had kids that didn't have good home lives growing up, and they were sleeping on my couch or in my bed because that's who my mother was, you know, and no questions asked. My mother would call and say, your child's here, if you choose to collect them. If not, if not, this is where they'll be. So you do have to pay it forward, because what you put out in this world does come back to you, whether it's a mirror of your feelings or a mirror of your energy or your belief system. It does come back, so people talk about karma, what goes around comes around. It does. It absolutely does. And I'm a firm believer in that. As a matter of fact, I got front and center stage for a few people waiting for that, waiting for that to happen. So, yeah, because it's just terrible. So I love what you do. I love your website, and I am going to check out your website more. Maybe I'll take some of those lessons myself, because I don't think you can be spiritual enough. I really don't. I don't think that and I think that a lot of us don't really realize that we're all here to teach and learn. That is part of our story. And it's not about whether someone went to college or something, what their role is in life. They do have something to teach and something to learn.
Yeah.
So, Johnny, if you could say anything that really kind of structures who you are in your life lesson, what would that be?
Eh, before I will answer it, I want to give another funny example about the balance of give and take that you talked about before, because we take it in my spiritual social project forum. I also manage in Israel and in many countries in Europe spiritual social project forums that base our life lesson to realize a social project. And what we started to do during the COVID is market skills. We called it market skills. People can register and offer some skills. It not need to be specific spiritual skills. We had people that sells tomato, that create jewelries, that they are police officer and want to talk about laws and security, and psychologists. And they market their skills in this market, and people can came to this. It was virtual because of the COVID and different countries, and people can get to their skills and say, I can draw, and you can give me tomato. So which kind of draw and how much time I need to work on it, that it will be equal then the amount of tomato that I want. So we sell skills by skills. And I believe that this is the new world, because the tomato can cancel, and the person that sells tomato can lose all their tomato, but the skills that he know how to sell tomato, this is the material that he cannot lose. So this is the main idea of the change of investigation from my eyes, that our skills is infinity materials, and we can use it to achieve all over that what I want. And the next part about my specific life lesson, I believe that all the website that you saw and all my social media platform, this is my main life lessons, because my friends called me the 80s girl, because I don't like technology. I don't like to be in social media. I don't have TikTok. I have specific social media for my business. And I started to it because I have a sensitive body. I'm HSP, if you know what is it. I have hearing and taste problem. This is the reason that I did the alternative medicine. I volunteered in the law office, and I didn't came to the army because of this medical problem. And before 4 months, I decided to continue my life lesson and publish what I have to say and overcome this physical problem. And I opened social media in English. And because of my hearing, my sensitive hearing, I didn't know English. And I started to learn English in a spiritual way when I decided to convert my website to English and to open it all over the world. And this is my main life lesson, because I know to write. My talking is harder than this, because I have a lot of, I feel a lot of things, spiritual, physical things. These glasses, for example, it's not for looking. I can see well, but it's for the screen. This is for that I can sit in front of the screen and talk with you. So, and I have headphones here to close the noises. And this is my main life lesson, how to overcome my physical situation and say what I believe.
I think she's doing a pretty good job. What about you, CJ?
Yeah, I think you're leading from the front, and I love that. The courage that it takes to know that you need to have your voice out there no matter what you feel going on in your body is just next level.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're gonna close out this session. CJ, did you have anything that you wanted to ask her? I kind of monopolize things sometimes.
No, I'm in awe of everything that that you're speaking about. Your website, when I read it, it was kind of just like I had all over body tingles. Like this is where we need to come to, and I think just coming together and everybody learning their own life lessons to get to the space where we're meant to be. Because I honestly believe we were all created on purpose with a specific purpose, and we need to intertwine and interlock those into the tapestry of what the world is supposed to be. And coming home to that is that's I think that's what my life lesson is coming home to that and realizing my piece of that.
I agree. I think it's kind of ironic that you were talking about this tomato thing because CJ, myself, and we have another partner in crime, Leslie, we're talking about this whole teach and learn, that like the old barter system, and that we should have more people doing that, and that more we could lift more people up that way than just charging people, because there's a lot of people that do want to get out there and have their voice heard, and they have something maybe not as prophetic to share, but they they deserve to be heard, and finance stands in their way. So there should be more of that barter, and I think this is kind of that pushing us. CJ, all right, so I want to thank both of you ladies for coming in. I want to thank the audience for listening, and thank you so much, my wonderful guests, Shani Azulay and CJ, my amazing co-host, for being here. Everyone have a
Thank you.
great.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Sorry that I cut you because the delay of Zoom. Can I show something for the end, the surprise that I made for you?
Okay, sweetie, go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know about you, CJ. So sorry, but
We'll share the surprise.
I want to share the surprise that I made for you, and I will send you it later. Yes, I found it.
I don't know if it will let you share screen in recording mode.
Can you make me host and I will
I can't in recording mode.
share my screen?
I don't think I can.
So I can send it here in the chat.
You can send it here in the chat, and then I could try to pull it up. But in recording mode, the things that you are doing are limited. I can't lower my screen, and things like that.
I sent it now.
Okay, let's see if we can pull this up for the world to see. Okay. Does it let it, can you see that, CJ?
I can. That's beautiful.
You can see that I didn't block everybody's view?
Nope, I can see it.
I don't see your screen, but I can say that this is your soul seal. I made the seals from the picture of energetic bodies and I draw it for you.
So this is my what?
Yes.
Yes, no, this is my, what does this symbolize for me? I gotta download this.
This is your main seal about your 8 energetic bodies around you that get a picture of the energy system of the connection between you and your souls. Inside, in the middle, this is your physical body, and around it is the routine energy around you.
Do I have good energy, Shani? That's what I want to know. Is this good energy?
Yes, yes.
I hope so, because
this is
I'm
pink
on YouTube.
energy.
I'm sorry.
This is the pink energy. They came from the sky world.
Oh, yay. Because listen, I'm on YouTube listening to all those meditations at night to clear out my bad negative energy. I believe that stuff. Every night. That's how I fall asleep, believe it or not. I listen to that stuff. I think it just lulls me off. So they have these frequencies of God and all this stuff. So I just find them very soothing, and they put me right to sleep. But we do have to close this out because I do have another show in 15 minutes. So I do want to just thank you again. I love what you're doing, and I will be on that website. I think I'll be going through some of those life lessons myself. So
Thank you.
I thank you. I think you're inspirational, and thanks for everybody for stopping in, and thank you for tuning in.